and blessings, family. Welcome to another segment of Hablamos, We Talk, with the Puerto Vallarta ViewPoint. Today we're going to be talking with Empress Al Yasha, whom I had the pleasure of meeting when her husband Ray conducted a horseback riding tour. I'm not going to tell you anything about Empress. I'm going to let her tell you all about herself. Empress, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me in your lovely home. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for inviting me and making this interview.
When did you first come to Mexico? When was the first time you ever visited Mexico?
The first time I ever visited Mexico was way back in the 70s. And at that time I visited Tijuana, La Bucadora, Ensenada, which people tell me since I've been here that that's not Mexico. So I really consider that my first time coming to Mexico was 2 years ago, which is 2000, well, almost 3, so 2019.
Really?
Yeah, was when I came here.
Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from New York City, and but I lived in Germany before I came here. Lived in Germany for 23 years in a small town, because I like small towns. And I lived in a small town called Oldenburg, which I go back to occasionally, and I love it. And I've got lots of friends there. In case they're watching this, hello, friends. I miss you all. I'm a singer-songwriter. And I lived in Germany for 23 years. I went to Germany with a musical tour, with the musical Hair. And while I was in Germany, I got offers to work there. So I thought after the tour was over that I would stay for a couple of months and make a little bit more money and then go back home. And that couple of months turned into 23 years. And I moved to Las Vegas, stayed in Las Vegas for 5 or 6 years, and it was not for me. I was ready to move back to Germany. We went to get on the plane and I had lost my passport and I couldn't fly. So I had to get another passport. So while I was trying to get another passport, we came for a short trip to Mexico. And I loved it, and so I said, why are we moving to Germany? Let's move to Mexico. And we did.
That's fascinating.
That's the Reader's Digest version.
So it wasn't planned any way, shape, or form?
No, it was not planned.
Meant to be here?
Meant to be here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you ever sung around here?
Yes, I have. I worked for a while at Las Adelitas. And we were at Blake's for a while, and let's see where else. Oh, and I've sat in at a couple of different places. Sometimes I go and sit in, like at Garbo's or
love Garbo's.
Act 2 or something like that, when they have something, you know. I don't do much sitting in because I prefer to get paid when I play.
I heard that.
But I've done it just to have fun with some friends.
You and I are homies. I'm from New York.
Yeah,
I was born and raised in Queens.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, I graduated from Jamaica High School.
I graduated from New York School of Performing Arts in Manhattan.
Wow.
Wow.
But I was born in the Bronx.
Okay. I was born in Queens.
Yeah.
How old were you when you left New York?
42.
Okay. All right. So you lived there.
Yeah.
So tell our viewers where you live in Mexico.
Well, I live in this beautiful village in the jungle. This is part of the jungle, and it's called Mismaloya.
Mismaloya.
Mismaloya. And we are, the river, you probably can't see it right now, but the river is right outside my door here, running in front of our house. And there's a little walk bridge there, and when you walk across this bridge, which crosses the river, you turn left, and you walk less than 5 minutes, and you're on the beach.
On the beach. On one of the best beaches in the area, I might add.
Yeah.
Make sure you subscribe so you can see when I upload my segment on Miss Maloya Beach. So how did you come to live here?
When I said that I wanted to live in Mexico instead of Germany, my husband said, I know exactly the place where we should live. He had lived here in the early 90s, and then he came back and forth as a visitor. He always wanted to come back here to live, but whatever circumstances he was in did not really support that. So when I said I wanted to move to Mexico, he said, I'm taking you to Miss Maloya.
Miss Maloya, right.
Because he actually lived in this town before when he was living here. He lived in this town.
Okay.
And
so he lived here before?
He lived here before.
Okay.
So when we moved here, he came first because was on my way to Germany to do a tour, and I had to go. I couldn't come with him. So he came here and found the house, and I went on to Germany to do the tour, and then when I came back here.
Empress and her husband Ray live an authentic Mexican lifestyle in one of the homes grandfathered when Mexico regained its independence from Spain. They enjoy bananas and passion fruit from the trees that grow in their yard and treat guests to juice pressed from their berry trees. And every day they enjoy the meandering river and sounds of life in the jungle village of Miss Maloya. What would you say you like most about living in Puerto Vallarta?
Ooh, that's like really hard to say because there's a lot of things that I like most. I love the green, you know. I love nature. I love that I wake up in the morning and I'm looking at millions of leaves on the trees and everyone is different. You know, I love that we have all of these different kinds of wildlife. I see birds in my trees when I wake up in the morning. I see iguanas, different colors, all kinds of animals, insects. The sound of the river living here in this particular spot, it's amazing. It's just awesome. I love the summer. I love the weather all year around. I love the heat. Some people think that it's too hot here. It's also a bit humid because we have the water coming down from the mountains. But I love it. For me, it's wonderful. But what's really, really important to me are the people here.
If you had to summarize the way they are, the way you feel about them in 3 to 5 words, what would those words be?
I would say love, generosity, warmth, of course, very warm people, and I don't know the word for it, but sincere, that's the word. You know, I have the feeling when anyone talks to me or helps me or is interested in something, you know, there's a sincerity there that you feel that's amazing. Yeah. The people are all friendly, they're all helpful, they smile at you. I mean, it's different. When you're on the street and something is happening to you here, people help you. You know, people stop. I take the bus back and forth when I go to the city, and sometimes I'm going shopping and I have big bags, and people will see me get off the bus at the bus stop and come to help me bring my bags home. You know, we don't have like garbage delivery like we know it, so you got to take your garbage out across the bridge and up the road because the dump is over there. And you know, people see you doing stuff like that and they'll come and take your garbage and help you out. You know, we sometimes we're on the beach and we're walking up and down just getting some sunshine, and there might be a family that bought their barbecue pit and food and everything on the beach, and we're walking by and they don't know us and they go, hey, we're having a barbecue. Come on, I've got videos of that.
Mhm.
Come on over, join us. And we join them, and we eat, and we drink, and we party, and we dance, and we sing, and we have so much fun.
Is it different from Germany in that way?
Well, yes, I have to say yes. Germany was wonderful because the people were really, really friendly to me. I guess because there I was exotic, so people were really friendly, and I was treated really, really very well. But it's different because the people in Germany were more curious about me. So they were very friendly because they wanted to learn, which is a good thing. The people here are also curious about us, but they accept you immediately as family. So it's a different kind of a feeling because when I was in Germany, I felt like I had to get to know the people before I could experience the warmth. But when we came here, it's like the warmth was everywhere.
Yeah, it's in the air.
The love was just everywhere, People kept saying they didn't even know us. They met people who didn't know Ray. And they would talk to us for 2 minutes and they would go, mi casa, tu casa. My house is your house, and people really mean it. These people here, it really feels like the importance of life is to be happy. It's not like they're trying to work themselves to death because they got to keep up with the Joneses. It's not like that. They know that they live in paradise. They know it, and so they live like they live in paradise. I had a situation where I was lost, and I was just walking around. I was in Puerto Vallarta in the city, and I was just walking around so that I could see things. And I got completely turned around, and this woman, she saw me looking around, and she said, well, can I help you? Where do you want to go? So I told her that I wanted to go to Francisco Medina to get the bus. And she said, oh, well, it's a little bit complicated. It's about 6 blocks from here. And then she started to tell me, and then I was like, okay. And she said, no, I'll take you. And she walked me. She was waiting for someone. She walked me all the way to the bus stop, and she said, oh, my friend will wait until I come back. And she walked me all the way to the bus stop.
Yes.
So
yes.
you don't experience that kind of stuff. I've never experienced anything like that in my 42 years in the United States, and I've never experienced anything like that in my 23 years in Germany. I also never experienced anything like that. So it's different here. The people they're different.
So, for those of you who can add, you just got a clue as to this woman's age. Would you mind telling our viewers how long you have blessed the earth with your presence?
I have blessed the earth for 70 years.
And I'm going to attribute her absolute radiant youthful beauty to Puerto Vallarta.
Yes, you can, but I mean, I've for most of my life, I've been happy, and I think that just being happy makes you look good. Look at how beautiful you are.
Oh, thank you.
Just being happy.
Yes.
You have a Ausstrahlung. Sie hat eine Ausstrahlung, wo man unbedingt sehen kann, dass sie glücklich ist.
Hey, I'm from New York. Watch your language. I'm sure.
One day I'll be able to say that in Spanish.
Can you say it in English?
I said, you have an aura and a personality that is so joyful that you just light up.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that very much. And so do you. And I think that's part of what made me want to immediately schedule you for a conversation.
Oh, thank you.
This is an insight, viewers, into the kind of people that have chosen to make Puerto Vallarta their home. It takes a certain energy, a certain personality to live in love, to live in paradise, to seek happiness, unconditionally, And Empress, I believe that you and Ray personify that. What about about being black in Puerto Vallarta?
It's not been an issue for me in Mexico. Some black people who I know say that they have had issues, and they're mostly people that have school-age children and they had to integrate their children into the school system. And they've had some complaints. I've seen some things online, but I don't know, maybe it's because we live in a village. You know, we haven't had any experiences that go into the city a lot. We haven't had any experiences in the city either. One of the things that impressed me when I came here is the relationship between the people and the police. Now, I don't know what you see on the news or what you've heard, but you know how it is for us in America. I got stopped by the police. I was driving my car, I was going to Home Depot, and I was a little bit lost. And the police were following me, they were watching me. So then I heard, and I looked out, you know, the mirror, and looked in the back, and I saw this, right? So I pulled over to the side of the road. So the cop came, and he actually stuck his head in my car window. He went, "Hi, how are you?" My heart was beating.
Yeah.
He was like, "How are you?" And I'm like, "I'm fine, I'm fine." You know, what's up, I'm fine. And he said, "Well, where are you trying to go?" And I said, "I'm trying to go to Home Depot." And he said, "Oh, have you ever driven there before?" And I said, "No, I have not." And he said, "Are you here on vacation?" I said, "Yes."
The simplest answers,
Yes,
right?
I'm here on vacation. And he said, "Well, this is the left turn. This is how you go left. And this is how you go into the middle. But Home Depot is right over there, so you have to stay in this lane. And when you come to this street, then you go right. So don't try to go over anymore. It's over there." And I said, "Okay, thank you very much, officer." And he said, "Yes, and have a nice day." And then and I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I would have gotten a ticket. I would have gotten like major attitude.
Yes.
You know, just a whole, and I would have been, you know, shaking
Yes.
in my boots because I would not know how far the cop wants to take this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here it's like, anytime a cop talks to you, it's because he thinks you need help. My next door neighbor wanted to welcome us and wanted to make us feel very comfortable. So he was questioning me, "Where do you come from? Where were you born?" And I said, "Okay, well, I come from New York. I'm born in New York." And he said, "Oh, I know a little bit about New York. What part of New York?" And I said, "Well, I was born in the Bronx." And he said, "In the Bronx? Lots of niggas live in the Bronx." And I was shocked. You know?
I bet you were.
I was shocked that he was just smiling. And he was so proud that he could tell me something that he knew.
Yes.
And I said, "What did you say?" And he said, "Lots of niggas live in the Bronx."
I take it that you had an opportunity to educate him on the use of that word.
"Okay, we have to talk about this because I think you don't understand, you know, what you're saying." And so I explained it to him, and I explained to him why we react negatively to this word and why that's not something nice for him to say to me. And he was so embarrassed. I mean, he just turned red and his eyes were just going like this, you know. And I mean, it's an immediate lesson, but, you know, he just felt so bad because he thought he hurt my feelings. If it wasn't so funny, my feelings would have really been hurt. It was just a shock, you know.
Viewers, you have just witnessed the first and likely the last time in history that I have ever laughed at the use of the N-word. If you know my racial justice work, you know I am adamantly against its use in any way, shape, or form. So, but that is hilarious. That is hilarious. What about being a woman in Puerto Vallarta?
Okay, there you have challenges. The men here relate to me as Ray's wife. They don't relate to me as Empress.
As Empress, yeah.
And so he works on that also to change my relationship with the men around here too. But for example, we had a gardener for the house. So the gardener would come and I would tell him what I want him to do, and then he would do what he wanted to do. But if Ray was home and Ray would come, Ray would say this, and then he would do whatever Ray told him to do. Sometimes we would walk down the street and the guys would, "Hey Ray," and bump fists and everything, and they would look at me and they would go, "Hello," and I'm like, "What's that?" And he's like, "Well, they're giving us that respect, of not speaking to my woman, and all that." I'm like, "Oh my goodness," So I got into the habit of whenever I walk through the street, I say hello to everybody and my normal self, and you can talk to me, okay? You can talk to me. You don't have to wait for my husband to be around, You can talk to me.
Yes.
I lived for a while in PTL, and I lived in an Airbnb, and the owner, was a man, very nice man, and he wanted to beef up the place, make it more attractive. So I was giving him design ideas, for his place, and he was putting in air conditioners, hallelujah. We were talking about where they should go, and we had a difference of opinion about where they should go. So he was saying where he wanted to put it, and I was saying, why they consider not putting it there and putting it someplace else. And, that went back and forth for a while, and finally he just looked at me and said, "I am the man." And I allowed that to end the conversation. That was my introduction to, the machismo, if you will, environment here. And on the few times that I allow myself to look at the news here in Mexico, I always see a story about, the fight for women to have a say in their own lives and in the country. So for you staunch feminists, that's something to consider. You should still move here, but like Empress has described, it's a learning curve, and this is our host country. So if there's going to be any bending and adjusting to be done, it will likely be you. Exactly.
I would not live in a country where the culture was such that women were abused. But what's happening here in terms of the machismo, as far as I see it, it's different.
But there's no walking 3 steps behind, and despite the energy that you talked about, the role of women is respected.
Yes.
Men respect the way a woman works hard. They respect the responsibility that she takes in caring for the home and for the community.
And women work hard here.
Oh yes.
If you don't believe it, you just need to walk down the street and see some of these women that are participating in building their own homes, rolling wheelbarrows with cement and bricks in them, moving furniture, doing the gardening. They do everything that the men do here. They work real hard.
And in the city.
If I'm out early walking, I see women walking with bags of onions and potatoes. They are so heavy.
Yep.
I mean, bags of them, and taking them to the little stores that they run, or to the little eateries, that they run, and chopping and working and, selling, all day. So, yeah, absolutely. What are some of the things you like least about living in Puerto Vallarta and Miss Maloya?
The mosquitoes. I did not. I wasn't really thinking about anything specific, so I wasn't prepared for the mosquitoes, and it was a bit traumatizing.
Anything else that you like least
About living in Puerto Vallarta? It's hard, right?
That's the mosquitoes. I said.
I know, right?
It's hard to find something that you dislike about living here. Have you visited other places in Mexico?
Well, I visited most of the small towns in this area. Boca de Tomatlan, San Pancho, Pitial, all of these little, villages around. And so we've gone a little farther. We've gone out from San Sebastian, where I rescued my puppy. Somebody left her on the river, and that's how I got my second dog. And we went all the way from San Sebastian to Talpa de Allende. And in between, there are all of these cities. They're on ley lines. So they're what they call magical cities because they have this positive energy that's supposed to keep you healthy and keep you in a good state of mind. And the cities are really beautiful. So we just made that trip from city to city exploring.
What about food? What restaurants do you like? Do you cook mostly at home? Do you eat out? What are some of your favorite places?
When I first got here, I was cooking every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got tired of cooking, and then we started exploring. So we first started exploring the restaurants on the beach. And we have one favorite restaurant there. They're all good. Some are better than others, and our favorite restaurant on the beach is Rocky's.
Oh, Rocky, yeah.
So
I met Rocky. Mm-hmm.
So we always go to Rocky's. On the other side of the street, when you go where the tequila tasting is, where all the tequila places are, there's a restaurant called Tony's Hideaway. And for our first experience, that was amazing for me because the guy came out with a plate like this of raw food. There was steaks, lobster, shrimps, mussels, fish, chicken, just a big plate, and then you point to what you want. And then they cook it for you. You tell them how you want it cooked, and they cook it for you. It's the most amazing food. I like to go to La Boguita.
La Bogadita on the Malcolm?
Bogadita.
On the Malcolm?
Yes.
Yeah, I go there too.
The food's great.
And they have salsa.
And they have salsa.
And that band.
Oh, the band is awesome.
They're like the best.
And there's another Cuban place on the Malecon. It's called Oceana.
Mm.
And they also have an incredible band and an incredible menu. The food's really, really great there.
Outstanding.
And if you like lobster as much as I do, then you would really want to go to Happy Lobster.
Happy Lobster. Where is that?
Happy Lobster. It's, you know where the Sheraton is?
Mm-hmm.
There's a street behind it that goes up a hill, and you go up and up and up, and it's up there in the hills somewhere.
Okay.
And they've got a great band too.
Okay.
They've got a great band. I love going places where there's live music.
Mm-hmm.
We go through periods where we eat out like 4 or 5 days in a week,
Mm-hmm.
and I have not had a bad meal anywhere. So you really can't go wrong.
Yeah.
I've wondered why so many apartments don't have ovens, and now I know.
Yeah.
There's a stove top for you to fry an egg or something.
Yeah.
But other than that, you can live here and not cook.
And not cook.
Those of you who subscribe and follow Puerto Vallarta ViewPoint know that I usually do some sort of a restaurant review, the comida section category, of the restaurants that are recommended by the people with whom we talk in Hablamos. So do a search for the restaurants that Empress has named. And if you don't find a segment, subscribe so you'll know when I do one. Plug there. On a scale of 1 to 10, how safe do you feel in Puerto Vallarta and Miss Maloya, and why?
10.
10. All right.
Do people ever talk to you like, what about the cartels and the drug violence?
Everybody is like, what about the cartel? You know, it's the same thing when I was living in Germany. It's like, what about the Nazis? You know, I'm sure that it exists. I know that it exists, but it doesn't have anything to do with me.
Right.
So I really can't tell you anything about that. Nobody's going to run up to you and say, "Hey,
I'm with the drug cartel. I'm here to frighten you."
Yeah, you know, it's not like that.
Right.
If it's here, it doesn't affect me. I'm staying away from it. I ain't trying to get into nobody's drug business. I ain't trying to get into laundering no money. I'm not trying to do anything that has anything to do with being illegal. So I feel safe. I'm not worried.
Don't bother them, they won't bother you, right?
So what about speaking Spanish here?
Everybody is helpful. If they see that you try to speak a little Spanish, they will speak to you. They will correct you.
Would you say you have to speak Spanish to live here?
I would say you don't have to speak Spanish to live here, but I would also say that it would be really rude of you to move to somebody else's country and not learn to speak their language. That is totally inappropriate.
Finish this sentence. Don't move to Puerto Vallarta if you
Don't want to be happy.
Okay.
Or don't know how to be happy. If you don't move to Puerto Vallarta, if you don't know how to be happy. You know.
Say more about that.
This is paradise. This is what life is meant to be like. And people they come and they bring their arrogance, they bring their anger, they bring their sadness, they bring their bad habits, they bring all of that with them. If you make one choice, in your life, make that choice to be happy, and be happy wherever you are and wherever you go. If you don't want to be happy, we don't want you. Get happy and then come here.
I think Ray is home. I'm psychic. I'm psychic.
And I
How would you
think
know
that Ray is home.
Ray is home.
I'm not sure, but
We're still in our interview.
Oh, sorry. Let me get another
Oh, we're
chair.
bad. All right.
Take the dogs with you.
I'll get you some. Yeah, come on, Ina. Move.
Take the
Papa.
Finish this sentence. Puerto Vallarta is the place for you if you
Want to be
wanna be
happy.
happy?
I'm psychic. I'm psychic. If you want to be happy.
If you want to be happy. It's the place for you to be if you want to be healthy. It's the place for you to be if you love life. All of those things.
Anything else you'd like to say to people who are considering moving here?
Don't waste so much time thinking about it.
Hello.
Stop letting everything go through your little brain, you know. Open up your mind, open up your big brain, and let your heart have its way. You know, your heart is saying, oh, that would be so much fun, that would be so good for me, but your little brain is saying, yeah, but how much money do I have, where am I going to live, or what's the politic like, is there crime, or what am I going to eat? You know, you got all of these questions. When we came here, we didn't know we were coming here.
Right.
I lost my passport on the way to Germany. And instead of getting another ticket to go to Germany, we came here.
There's so many people
Yeah.
who didn't plan on it.
Yeah.
They came here on vacation and
Never
left.
left.
Yeah.
No planning, no money.
when I signed my lease here, I still had a lease in Baltimore. My whole life in Baltimore.
Yeah.
I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just knew I was.
Yeah.
So I like the way you finished that sentence.
Yeah. That's all you got to know.
I like that very much.
And thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy and your views and experiences with the Puerto Vallarta ViewPoint viewers and subscribers. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share, because I feel like people should know how it is, especially Black people should know that you do not have to accept all of this hatred and ugliness in politics. There are, even if you don't want to come to Mexico, if you don't want to come to Puerto Vallarta, which is the best place that you can come, you can go to any country. The world is open to you.
Those of you who follow me on Facebook know my phrase, there are alternatives. Thanks again, Empress.
I was teaching voice lessons, so my office was downstairs, so it was the window in the garden, and the bird cage was right outside my window. The birds would, sing now and then, but they were just really cool. But every time I would give a voice lesson, they would start singing and screaming to the top of their lungs, so much so that I could not teach. So I had to always take my students to the other side of the house, because as long as they could hear us singing, and canaries have such powerful voices. They sing with their whole bodies.
Yeah.
So when they sing, the whole body is going like this.
Oh, wow.
And it's like power, more power. You could not get the power of a canary in a human voice. It's not possible.
Wow.
They're incredibly loud, powerful, and they can like hold one note forever. They are much better singers than we are.
Yeah, they were showing
They were
off,
made to
too.
sing.
Made to sing.
Yes, indeed.